Hello and welcome to Asheville City Works. I'm Melissa Williams. Our first story this month comes out of the city's municipal building. The Asheville Police Department's Criminal Investigations Division is always committed to bringing criminals to justice, no matter how long it takes. Lately, because of many factors, including the country's economic downturn, the CID's investigation workload has increased. These detectives work cases from simple larceny crimes to homicide and are constantly seeking evidence and information that eventually leads them to arresting suspects. In addition to investigating ongoing crime, the CID now has 2 full-time investigators working cold cases. And recently, these detectives were able to make an arrest in a homicide dating back 19 years. Here are Captain Tim Splain and Detective Yvonne Coburn to tell us more about their work and to ask for your help in solving other cold cases.
Currently we have about 18 detectives that are actually working criminal cases. During the 2008 year, our department answered 106,000 calls for service, or right around 106,000, and we actually did follow-up investigations on around 11,000 different incidents. So for the most part, those 18 detectives plus a couple gang detectives are responsible for doing the follow-up investigation for all 11,000 of those cases. We also have a staff of volunteers that goes through, and on cases where there's no solvability factors, there's just no evidence to go on, they make callback contact with the victims of those crimes and talk to them and see if there's any further information that can be gleaned from the victim for us to further work on in regard to that case. But for the most part, our patrol officers respond to all the preliminary investigative type stuff out in the street. They get a call for service, they go and see what the incident is, they develop some preliminary information, and then if it requires follow-up, that information comes up to the Criminal Investigation Division, and then we follow up on that from there. We prioritize all our investigations. The most serious are, of course, murder or crimes against persons where there's serious personal injury. But the range of crimes that we investigate go all the way from the homicides and sexual assaults to other crimes of violence, all the way to misdemeanor larcenies, obtaining property by false pretense, damage to property, anything that where somebody loses property, there's property damaged, somebody suffers a loss, and that we have the ability to, or some evidence where we can link that to a person and possibly make an arrest in those cases. We're closing a lot of cases, and the encouraging thing is, as we've progressed over the past few years and we've developed our records management system and we've enhanced the way we actually do our investigations, we've had the ability to reduce the caseloads for the detectives. We've increased the division by a few people, so we have more detectives actually working cases, but their caseload has gone down from somewhere around 100 cases that they would carry on any given day during the year, down to 20 or 30 cases or less. And that way they have more time to actually put in and do a proper investigation on the ones that they have. And a short period of time ago, we did a little bit of restructuring in our division. We wanted to, and have wanted to for quite a while, have some detectives assigned to working cold cases, and primarily our cold case homicides. Currently we have 23 or 24 cold case homicides dating back to 1969 that we have wanted to place more emphasis on, do more research on, and actually look at more closely so that we could try to make cases or glean more information, make arrests on those cases. That being said, we did some restructuring. We actually assigned 2 full-time detectives to work cold cases. They also help out. They're the primary detectives on most of our homicides when we have one, but their duties right now are to go through those cold cases one by one and see what kind of information they can glean and see what they can add to those cases. Our most recent one, involving the victim of Sandra Profit, was one where because of the officers, the detectives' initiative, they were able to go through that information, look at what had been documented in the past, and then go and actually do some new interviews on other folks involved in that case, and develop information and corroborate some other information to the point to where they were able to bring the suspect in, re-interview him, and he in turn made admissions that he was responsible for Sandra Proffitt's death.
The domestic violence laws in 1990 were not in place as they are now. So we didn't have as much domestic violence awareness, and this case was clearly a domestic violence case. The original detectives that had investigated that case in 1990 had documented the case very well. Myself and Detective Kevin Taylor, who is also assigned to cold case, were able to go forward in utilizing our current domestic violence laws and awareness. We were able to go forward and speak with Mr. Spivey.
And that's a great success, and I think it's a great starting point for our efforts in cold case homicides especially, in that, you know, it proves to us, it proves to the community, it proves to the victim's family that as we get into this and we start doing more of this and can actually make a concerted effort toward these cases, that I think we'll see more and more successes like this. You know, some of our more recent cases that are out there, Jermaine Thompson from the Calypso Club, the shooting death there, Chris Sewell, who was shot to death in Hillcrest Apartments, Craig Valentine, who was shot in West Asheville. We have you know, Kelly Smith, the murder and dismemberment of Kelly Smith. You know, we consider Zeb Quinn a homicide case, although officially it's a missing persons case. But we're always, you know, working new information on that case. Amber Lundgren, who disappeared from a downtown nightclub. Lots of those cases are ones where we are constantly, you know, we get new information, we follow that lead as far as we can go, add it to the case file, and then sometimes just have to wait and see if there's new information that comes up to help corroborate or add to that. So I would encourage, you know, any community member out here that has any information about those cases, certainly to contact us and let us review that information and see. And you know, I know they'd be surprised, and we're always surprised at the value of that information once we get it.
The community plays a role in being forthcoming with their information. You know, I know it's typical for people to sit at home and think, well, you know, I know this, but I'm not so sure that it would be helpful, or maybe it was just gossip or hearsay. And sometimes it's those little vital pieces of information that can lead us in the proper direction to go.
Really the important thing in this, and what we really want to relay to the community, is that these cases are never closed. There are some cases that we have that where an arrest was made, there was no conviction, or for some reason the charges were dismissed against the suspect. We still consider those cases open. We always want new information. We always want tips and leads and anything anybody hears or knows about these old cases. A lot of them, you know, date back to times before I even became a police officer here, or some of our detectives did. So, you know, we're always working from a fresh knowledge base. We're always looking for new things to add. So I would encourage anybody out there in the community that has any kind of information regarding the cases to certainly call us. Share that information with us, let us research it. Sometimes information that you wouldn't think is really that significant can corroborate other really significant information that's in a case file and can actually make the case for us.